You can be surrounded by people, hundreds of them, thousands of them, and still feel completely alone. You can sit in a packed subway in New York, stand in a sold out stadium, work in a busy office, scroll through hundreds of notifications, and yet there's a quiet emptiness inside that no one seems to notice. This is not weakness, this is not failure, and this is not something wrong with you. This is modern loneliness, and America is experiencing it at a level never seen before. Not because people are alone, but because connection has changed. Today, we're going to talk about why Americans feel lonely even in crowds, what's really happening inside the mind, and how a society full of people slowly became emotionally isolated. Stay with me, because if you've ever felt this way, this video will feel like someone finally understands you. America has more people than ever, more technology than ever, more communication tools than any generation before. And yet, loneliness is now being called a public health crisis. Doctors aren't just treating heart disease and diabetes anymore. They're treating isolation, disconnection, emotional emptiness. Studies show chronic loneliness increases the risk of depression, anxiety, heart disease, stroke, dementia, early death. The impact of loneliness on health is comparable to smoking cigarettes every day. Let that sink in. Loneliness is not just an emotion, it's a biological stress state. And the most shocking part? Many of the loneliest people in America are never physically alone. Here's the biggest misunderstanding. Loneliness is not about being alone, it's about being unseen. You can be alone and feel peaceful, but you can be surrounded by people and feel invisible. Loneliness happens when your thoughts aren't heard, your emotions aren't acknowledged, your presence doesn't feel meaningful. Crowds don't guarantee connection, noise doesn't guarantee intimacy, and modern American life is full of presence without connection. Decades ago, Americans lived inside communities. Neighbors knew each other, families lived closer, workplaces felt personal, conversations were longer, silence wasn't awkward. Today, life is efficient, but emotionally thin. We interact constantly, but rarely connect deeply. Small talk replaced real talk, text replaced voice, likes replaced listening, speed replaced presence. Deep connection requires time, vulnerability, and emotional risk. Modern life discourages all three. A crowd used to mean safety, belonging, shared identity. Now, crowds often mean anonymity. In cities, people walk past thousands of faces every week without knowing a single name. At work, people collaborate but don't connect. In schools, students attend but don't belong. Online, people interact but don't feel known. You are present everywhere, but emotionally anchored nowhere. That's how loneliness survives inside crowds. America celebrates independence. Be strong, be self-sufficient, handle it yourself, don't burden others. This mindset builds achievement, but it quietly destroys emotional intimacy. People are taught to hide struggles, minimize pain, avoid vulnerability, appear fine. So everyone smiles while feeling disconnected inside. When vulnerability disappears, real connection disappears with it. Social media didn't create loneliness, it changed its shape. You're constantly surrounded by people's lives, but rarely invited into their reality. You see highlights, not struggles, success, not fear, happiness, not loneliness. Your brain compares your real life to someone else's curated image, and comparison quietly erodes self-worth. You feel behind, uninteresting, replaceable. Ironically, the more connected you appear online, the lonelier you may feel offline. Humans are wired to feel needed. Belonging isn't just about being around others, it's about being important to someone. Modern systems don't need people emotionally, they need productivity. You are valuable when you perform, not when you simply exist. This makes people feel replaceable, disposable, emotionally unnecessary. And nothing creates loneliness faster than feeling unneeded. Americans are busy, constantly. Meetings, deadlines, side hustles, notifications. Busyness gives a sense of purpose, but it leaves little room for emotional presence. Connection requires slowness, listening, pauses. When life becomes nonstop motion, relationships become transactional. You talk to people, but you don't sit with them. Many Americans don't avoid connection, they avoid emotional risk. Opening up means risking rejection, risking judgment, risking being misunderstood. So people stay guarded, polite, surface level. Everyone wants connection, but no one wants to go first. This creates emotional stalemates everywhere.
In silence, you expect nothing. In crowds, you expect connection. When it doesn't happen, the disappointment feels heavier. That's why a crowded room can feel lonelier than being alone at home. Loneliness hurts more when connection feels possible, but unreachable. Loneliness changes how the brain works. It increases threat detection, self-doubt, negative interpretation. You start assuming, they don't care, I don't belong, I'm invisible. The brain becomes defensive, walls go up, connection becomes harder, loneliness becomes a loop. This loneliness is systemic, not personal. It's built into work culture, technology, urban design, social expectations. You didn't fail to connect. The environment failed to support connection. Understanding this removes shame, and shame is the biggest barrier to healing. Real connection is simple, but uncomfortable. It requires listening without fixing, speaking without performing, being present without distraction. Connection doesn't need crowds, it needs attentiveness. One real conversation is more powerful than 100 social interactions. Despite everything, humans are still wired for connection. Loneliness proves one thing clearly: you still care, you still want meaning, you still want to belong. And that desire is not weakness, it's humanity. If you've ever felt lonely in a crowd, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you're human in a world that forgot how to slow down. Connection didn't disappear, it just became rare. And rare things feel lonely until we learn how to protect them again. You are not invisible. You are not alone in feeling alone. And sometimes, understanding the reason is the first real connection you've had in a long time.